Which camera are we on? Oh, but you know what? Even at our amateurish worst, we're better than every other TV show out there. That's all I'm saying. God, Carol, all I had today was a peanut butter sandwich for lunch. And it's like my body, I could feel my body going, is that it? I mean, I like peanut butter, it's protein. And, oh, for what it's worth, instead of jelly, parents, if you're buying that sugar jelly crap, I have said this before, I was spitting banana into the air. If you're buying that sugar jelly crap and thinking that you're doing your kids a favor, you're being stupid. Listen, pure fruit. Simply Fruit, I think Smucker's has Simply Fruit, and then there's a pure fruit. It's basically, you know, they say it's sweetened with fruit juice, which is better than sweetened with pure sugar syrup, corn syrup. But they grind up some fruit, some blackberries or blueberries or, you know, strawberries or whatever, sweeten it, put in some pectin, which thickens it up so you can call it jelly. And you know, that's the best way to do it. Do the Simply Fruit route. And Carol, you know why I'm saying this? Because it's on sale now. I just noticed it at the Harris Teeter. It's on sale. I always wait for there to be a sale on the jelly that doesn't have sugar in it. The jelly that's just pure fruit. You can find it if you use your eyeballs. The jelly that doesn't have sugar in it. At the Harris Teeter in Cameron Village, I saw that it was on sale. Anyway, but so I had that with peanut butter on some, I only had rosemary bread, Carol. So I guess the peanut butter and jelly sandwich was savory today. You know, because there's sweet and savory and those two things. But, you know, peanut butter is savory, so it actually worked. You toast the rosemary bread. And, I mean, you put the peanut butter on it. The peanut butter gets a little hot with the heat of the bread and the toast. And then you throw that all fruit jelly on there. Although it's not all fruit, but, you know, it's got pectin and lemon juice and, you know, they sweeten it with other stuff. But anyway, no sugar. No pure sugar. So, that was Nellie Lutcher. This is her. Can we show this, Carol? Can we show this here now? Can you? Yeah. Look at that beautiful black woman. That's just so the store doesn't sell it. When I bring it to the used book and record store where I work, I'm like, let's listen to Nellie Lutcher today. But I'm like, don't sell this. That's mine. Yeah, she was like a fabulous, fabulous singer from the 40s. And nobody really knows about her today. What was her she was like the Princess of Bop or something. What was her, oh, she had a kind of great slogan. Anyway, Nellie Lutcher. So, can we talk about the girls? Yeah, I know there's lots to talk about. Like the Senate and the House in North Carolina both passed this bill against accepting literally billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of millions, billions, whatever, of money for a Medicaid expansion in North Carolina, right? The House and Senate in North Carolina have voted against accepting Obamacare's Medicaid expansion. One of the things they used, and if you go to my Twitter page, we linked to this, was that, oh, rural hospitals will be hurt, blah, blah, blah. But rural hospitals actually said to the legislators, no, we will be more hurt if you don't expand Medicaid with this Obamacare Medicaid expansion. That's what rural hospitals said to the legislature. But the ideologically driven, narrow-minded, pinched little Republicans in the North Carolina House and Senate who said, no, we can't take this money, we can't expand Medicaid. Basically what they've done is they have bitch slapped poor people who will fall in between the cracks between the insured and Medicaid. Without that expansion, lots more people will go without health insurance and thus health care, and there will be deaths. I'm sorry, Carol. They say that when we say things like that, we're being really, oh, they're so dramatic. But that's the truth. People don't go to the hospital when they don't have the money to pay for it and don't have insurance. You expand Medicaid, and the rural hospitals that the Republicans were waving around, whoa, we got to save the rural hospital. It was all bullcrap. It was a blatant lie coming right out of Art Pope's mouth. The rural hospitals themselves pushed aside that lie and said, no, that's really not true. We'd like the Medicaid expansion in the current climate. They said no. People will die because of this. This is what the Republican Party is doing. It's ideologically driven in North Carolina to the extent that Art Pope at the top and Pat McCrory, who's just a rubber stamp. Yeah, Art, whatever you want. Whatever you want, Art Pope. Sure, right? Pure ideology driving idiotic policy. It's just stupid. New Jersey is accepting the expansion. Virginia is accepting the expansion. GOP governors and GOP legislatures in state after state after state are grudgingly realizing that, you know what, ideologically we're opposed to this, but it's really colossally stupid to reject the expansion of Medicaid under this. The feds have made it really stupid for us to reject this, so we can't have the ideologically pure position. But in North Carolina and Georgia and South Carolina,
even crazy Jan Brewer in Arizona is taking it.
Jan Brewer in Arizona, Carol, the lesbian director of the show in the back. You need a microphone, Carol, is saying that. Right, is saying that Jan Brewer is accepting it. Tennessee looks like that. Tennessee, Carol. we are below Tennessee. It's ideologically driven stupidity. You've got the facts, and the majority of poor people who are falling between the cracks of insurance and Medicaid would be helped by this. And Art Pope and Pat McCrory and the Republican legislature are saying, but our ideological purity says screw those people. And by screw, I mean the F word. Screw those people. We must be ideologically pure so we can, maybe have the libertarian ideologically pure state that we desire with no federal. It's just stupid. Actual living poor people will be killed by this policy. It's just true. You can deny it all you want. Go to my website. Josh Stein, who's a Wake County senator, one of the few that the Republicans allowed to be elected, from North Carolina, state senator. He has a great 6-minute speech on the floor. It's not well edited, which, Carol, we can relate, but it's because it's, filmed from up above in the balcony, but he's really articulate. Go to my Twitter page, I'll link to it. He's really articulate about why this is such a stupid idea. And they did it anyway. Again, Carol, the Republicans are trying to solidify as much of their power as possible because they know that the majority of North Carolina voters, once they understand what the Republican agenda is, the far-right extremist Republican agenda, and I'm sorry, I know those are loaded words. I'm using them very deliberately. Most people in North Carolina would want Medicaid expanded. My phone's ringing, Carol. I never even use my cell phone. And the one time I bring it, it rings. Nobody ever, I don't need to be mobily accessible. And the one time that I bring it and stick it in the coat there, it rings. Okay, so can we get back to the Oscars, Carol? That's much more exciting. Okay, the Republicans, because Pat McCrory has not yet signed the Republican legislature's ridiculous rejection of the expansion of federal dollars to help expand Medicaid. They will not take money from the feds. I know it comes from us, but they will not take money from the feds to expand Medicaid. They're just throwing it away, and so people will suffer. Pat McCrory has not yet signed that. We shall see if Pat McCrory signs that in the next couple of days. I think it's clear he's going to, but when he does, just acknowledge that, just recognize that what Pat McCrory is acquiescing to this idiotic ideology, this purity of essence, right? Anybody get that reference? Anybody know what movie that's from? Purity of Essence? Dude, I will give you $10 out of my pocket if you call this number right now and say, I know what movie Purity of Essence is from. Seriously, $10 right out of my pocket. What do I got? What do I got here, Carol? All right, no, I do. I was going to say I got $8. $10 right out of my pocket. First person who tells me, calls that number and tells me what Purity of Essence is from. So, anyway, the Oscars. Let's take a deep breath and let's talk to any young girls who are out there watching, right? Maybe your parents are, tuning you in to how sexist the world is. Maybe they're not. But if you're a young girl who watched the Oscars with parents who didn't point out to you how sexist they were, you need to hear the next 5 minutes of the show. Okay? Fair enough? I'm just going to make a case. I'm not saying I'm totally 100% right. I mean, I am saying I'm totally 100% right, but you don't have to believe that. But I'm going to make a case. The "we saw your boobs" thing, girls, I'm just trying to help you here. Your parents should have been pointing this out to you as it was happening. The "we saw your boobs" speech did not include anything about "we saw your butt" to the guys. Don't even talk about seeing a boy's penis in a movie. Because, Carol, that never happens. You see full frontal nudity on women in movies so much more often than you see full frontal nudity in men. Hollywood does such a crappy job of giving women, older women, adult women, intelligent roles, that to have the Oscars be basically a series, a cascading series of idiotically sexist jokes. Now, I enjoyed, Carol, thank you for having me over. The cats were wonderful. The pizza was wonderful. I enjoy the Oscars. But almost immediately, I started seeing the sexist crap. The "we saw your boobs" did not have any mention of boys. There should have been a second verse. "We saw your butt." That would have been like 21st century humor. The first verse is "we saw your boobs, we saw your boobs." Yeah. We've all been there. It's just boring. Oh, women show their boobs in movies and men win. When women show their boobs in movies, and women lose when they show their boobs in movies, because we can laugh, even if it's a damn rape scene, like Jodie Foster, right? Even if it's a damn rape scene. "We saw your boobs in that rape scene." Duh. It's just ridiculous. But I would have accepted that if there was equally stupid sexist crap about male actors. "We saw your butt. They won't let you show your penis, but we saw your butt." Get the Gay Men's Health Chorus or whatever it is, Gay Men's Chorus, singing about that. Carol, the producers, the two main producers of this year's Oscars were gay men. The Gay Men's Chorus was part of the "we saw your boobs" speech. I, as a gay man, am embarrassed that gay men produced that misogyny fest. Misogyny, girls, means anti-woman, hating bad women, hating women. Ginny, gynecologist, GYN, that's the I think it's Latin. No, that may be Greek, root for woman. Yeah, it's Greek, root for woman. Misogyny is anti-woman, right? It was an anti-woman telecast you saw it again and again and again and again and again. Where was the verse about men? "We saw your butt, man, we saw your butt." The fact that gay men produced this thing and the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles was part of that song, "We saw your boobs," is, to me, despicable. It makes me embarrassed to be a gay guy. There's a history of this vicious, carping, anti-woman stuff coming from gay men. Ooh, women, ooh, and that's not how most gay men are, but there's this small part of it. And to me, the fact that the Gay Men's Chorus was part of that "we saw your boobs" speech, and that none of the Gay Men's Chorus people, as far as we can tell, objected to that, haven't heard from anyone, is really sad. All right, that was just the first opening. I was like, okay, it's a stupid thing. And ratings were up this year, right? Hey, Carol, stupid sexism sells in America. But girls, listen. That was just the start of it. Then they made that joke about Chris Brown and Rihanna, right? Rihanna, whatever. You know, Django Unchained was, girls, this is the kind of thing that you'll notice if you're sensitized to it. You know, Chris Brown and Rihanna, or Django Unchained was a movie about a woman doing horrible things, violent things being done to a woman. In other words, for Chris Brown and Rihanna, a date movie. Not for Chris Brown, a date movie. In other words, he included the victim. And the fact that Rihanna has gone back to Chris Brown is a standard pattern in abusive relationships. We see that again and again and again. And the fact that Seth MacFarlane, the dick, and that's a purely sexist insult, Carol. What's wrong with dicks? The Seth MacFarlane, the dick, included Rihanna in a joke about domestic violence. Felt comfortable doing that. Was second disgusting moment of the Oscars. And this all happened pretty early on. Then he makes a joke about the 9-year-old star of Beasts of the Southern Wild, which is a great, weird little movie. And she's wonderful in it, but I don't know, you don't give an Oscar to a 9-year-old. I'm glad they didn't give it to her. She didn't deserve it. But he makes a joke sexualizing a 9-year-old girl about how George Clooney likes little girls, and in 16 years, she will be too old for George Clooney at 25, right? Then he throws George Clooney a little bit of liquor. He sexualized a 9-year-old girl in front of 1 billion people. Okay, that was the third thing, right? Then he called Jennifer Aniston a stripper. Well, one of those two, Channing, whatever his name is, Tatum, and Jennifer, one of those two admits that they had an exotic dancer in their past. It's like, up yours. At this point, I was really completely up yours. Then he makes a joke about dieting, right? The actresses who, you know, had the flu, quote unquote, and lost all this weight. Then, I mean, at what point does this become, wow, where are the jokes about all men? And then the thing that solidified it for me the most, and I know we're spending a lot of time on the Oscars, but girls, you really ought to be able to think about this. You really ought to be able to step back and look at this. And I know I'm a boy telling girls about sexism, but I'm just saying. When he said Zero Dark 30, which has problems, the movie about Osama bin Laden's assassination, the murder of Osama bin Laden, you know, the extrajudicial murder of Osama bin Laden. I don't know if anybody cares that it was an extrajudicial, outside the justice system murder of Osama bin Laden, but let's call a spade, that's what it was. It was an extrajudicial killing. And the fact that the Obama administration, can I do a side thing here, Carol? The fact that the Obama administration is refusing to say whether they think drones should be allowed to kill U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. They are refusing to say whether they think they have that right. That's happening, monkeys. The Obama administration is like, oh, wait, you're asking us directly, do we think that the president has the right to send a drone strike against a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil? We're just not going to answer that. And there was a Supreme Court case just today, yesterday or today, where the Supreme Court said, no, you don't have any standing. U.S. citizens don't have any standing to challenge warrantless eavesdropping on the part of the feds. You don't have standing to challenge that in courts because you can't prove you've been harmed by the idea of the federal government having limitless warrantless surveying of your email, of your phones, of anything. You don't have standing to challenge that because you can't prove that you've been harmed. You specifically have been harmed. Yeah, Carol says yet. And the people who are arguing, thank you. When I think of the Supreme Court, I get gaseous. I get a little gassy when the Supreme Court comes up. But they just said you don't have standing to challenge the government's assertion that we now have the ability to eavesdrop on your emails, your phones, anything, drones, whatever, and you don't have standing to challenge that because you can't prove you have currently been harmed by it. It was a 5-4 decision, monkeys. 5-4 decision. The Supreme Court says no U.S. citizen has standing to prove they've been harmed by the government grabbing all this power for warrantless searching of all of your emails. And Carol, we just kind of take it. You know, as long as you give me my DVDs, Carol, I'll be happy. Zero Dark 30 has a lot of problems. The thing that killed the Oscars for me, the thing that really drove the nail in the coffin, was when Seth MacFarlane stood up in front of 1 billion people, and they say 1 billion, Carol, I'll bet it's more like 890,000. They always round up. But Seth MacFarlane said that Zero Dark 30, this problematic movie, and Carol, she was a composite character. Yeah, sorry. But Zero Dark 30 was about a woman's innate ability to never let anything go. That's a diss on half the planet. I felt like I had been dropped into a joke book, a Playboy joke book from 1957. You know? A woman's innate ability to not let anything go. We all get that. We're all on board with that. No, the sexist asses are on board with that. When that happened, it was the nail in the coffin. I was like, wow. Seth MacFarlane, you just and it just kept going. The Kardashian facial hair joke, women can't have any kind of hair on their face. Well, you know, up yours, Seth MacFarlane, right? And then there was more. The Jack Nicholson's house joke. Oh yeah, let's make fun of the moment when Jack Nicholson's house was the scene of a rape of a 13-year-old girl. You know, and then the Selma Hayek thing. Who cares what she sounds like? And I know Javier was up there too, but still, who cares what she sounds like? It's all about women. And Carol, you can argue that the women who allow themselves to be poured into these slinky, tight-fitting dresses don't really have a whole lot of standing to object to the sexism of the presenter. But at the same, I don't buy that argument. What, 3 minutes? The fact is that the Oscars this year was a series of anti-woman jokes that excluded half the population from participating in the joyousness of the event. What does it mean when you say that all women can't let anything go in a room full of talented women? What does it mean when you consistently reduce women who have done these talented things to just the fact that we saw their boobs in rape scenes? What does that mean? Overall, young girls out there watching, I'm just telling you. You can argue, you know, a lot of people are, oh, you're just too serious, you can't take a joke. I like Seth MacFarlane stuff. I laugh at the Family Guy sometimes. You know, well, I don't have cable now. It's been years since I've seen it, but I used to laugh. You know? I just think that the consistent pattern, it's not that we're humorless, it's just that these jokes are boring. It's a consistent pattern of jokes that were old in 1975. What? Oh yeah, Oaks and Spokes. Oh yeah. We only have a minute or two left. Go to this website. There's a bicycle festival happening this weekend, starting First Friday with the First Friday bike ride at the bell tower at NC State. 7 o'clock, I think they do, is when they start. I'll be there. The Oaks and Spokes Festival, they're doing all kinds of really cool stuff, including a week from this coming Sunday, a Critical Mass bike ride through the Mordecai and Oakwood neighborhoods. Parents, if you have kids and you have kids with bicycles, and if you have kids and you don't have kids with bicycles, there's a problem there. You need kids with bicycles. They're doing a ride. You got to have helmets. I'm sure there'll be extras to supply out there, I'll bet you. You've got to have helmets, but the kids are going to ride through the streets en masse in a big group. And I got to tell you, if I was, there are very few things, Carol, that make me regret not having kids around 24/7. But the Critical Mass bike ride on March 10th, Sunday, March 10th, a week from this Sunday, to close out the Oaks and Spokes Bike Festival in Raleigh happening, starting this Friday, is one of the things that makes me regret not having kids around 24/7. I would drag my kids out there. I said, kids, we are going to take over the streets. And the kids who are used to having to ride, oh, you know, be careful, ride on the sidewalk, be careful, are going to be in the streets in a huge group of kids riding through the streets.
Saturday, kilt run.
Oh, and this coming Saturday, there's a kilt run. As in people running in kilts down through at Moore Square Saturday. What's the website, Carol? There it is. There it is. The kilt run. So anyway, tell your kids to get on their bikes and go to the Oaks and Spokes website. All right? All right. Take care of each other. We'll see you next week.